click on this. Now we're live. I wonder if they could hear me going, we're live.
We're not live.
So, typical coffee talk.
Hi. I always look better before I actually get on here. I always think, and then I look at myself going, ah!
I know what I look
so
like.
Nancy, hello, good morning. This is Coffee Talk with Torrey and Nancy, our final episode.
Yay.
Well, Nancy's happy about it. I'm not so much.
Look, it did show up. So that's good.
I'm not so much because I'm losing my partner in crime.
I know.
But
now we'll just have fun together.
Yeah, exactly.
So that'll be
we
cool.
can go do fun
on vacations
things.
and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about that. Anyway, so this is going to be a special edition of Coffee Talk, and this is going to be a reminiscent. And so if you need to know anything about our current programming, you may want to go to our website and at the town of Garner, garnernc.gov, or you can go to our Facebook page that you're probably watching this on, and you can see our updated lists and everything. But today we have a special episode because we want to talk about the many, many things that we have done and some of the great things that Nancy's done over her career here, her stellar career here. And Nancy always wanted to have her name in lights.
I did.
This is one of my favorite things is when she would do her self-evaluation. It was always in present tense, and it was always had like Nancy's famous things and like
lights.
Sparkly things.
I did. I always did glitter,
and so I'd have to like totally retype everything just to make it like more.
So she could pass it up the chain.
But Nancy does deserve her name in lights, and we're so happy to celebrate her retirement in the next week or so.
Yeah.
So this is almost I think it's a week from today. That should be your final day here.
I go for my final thing. I just want to say before we start, two things. One is I had to revamp my entire computer, like croaked. It was like the blue screen of death last week. So I get back on from the beginning. And I don't know how many times you all have heard us go like we're backwards and like, and
all of a sudden
I saw our button and it said mirror something, and I pushed and I went, oh, this is actually my left hand.
Because I would be
Like,
thinking my hair was out of place, and I was like having to
Yes.
This went on. So we started this during the
COVID.
It was during COVID.
Yep.
And it's been a great
with
way
masks on. Originally, we did it together with a mask on, and then I got really nervous because you had kids at home, and I was like, I don't trust being near you. And my mother was still alive at the time and was very ill, and I was like, I don't trust being near you. So we start, and then John, because we were just doing it on Facebook Live, and then Sharon over at GPAC is the one that said, do this stream, because we couldn't figure out how to do it, and he said you can do StreamYard, and then you can be in different buildings. That's how we did this.
Right.
And I just told her, now the StreamYard is on my laptop, and I was like, you can't do this on the town's computer. It won't let you. You have to do it on your laptop. You're going to have to call John.
Yeah. So if I was a little white when I came on, it was because she was telling me all this stuff.
And then I said, also, to do the emails at the end of the month, you can't use Constant Contact on the town's computer.
I have to do it on my own.
You have to do it on your own computer. And the other thing that you probably know is you can't email yourself from your personal email to the town's email because it blocks it.
Mine doesn't.
Oh, it doesn't?
No, for some reason it works.
So I
think it's because yours is a leaner me.
Oh, and yours is a name?
Yeah.
Oh, so I have to go onto Office, open up Outlook.
I've worked. I got to work around on that one.
Yeah, and then I have to email everything to myself from my work email on my laptop to my work email on the PC.
Yep.
We have to talk. We have a lot to talk about
logistical stuff. But anyway, so I want to, I want to make this celebratory, and I want to actually interview Nancy about a couple of things. I think this will be fun. And I see that Jerry's here. Thank you for
such a turn. I'll tell you later what he told me about that.
Okay.
Well, I can't say that out loud in front of anybody else. Oh my God.
So we've had quite of an experience. We've been working together. We figured out that Nancy started out at being an instructor here when I had first started. I started in 2000. In 2002, she was a contracted instructor with us, and she was teaching fitness classes. And that was before our new our new wing,
which opened in 2006.
Right. So and that was just a crazy time. We were having to there were too many people in one room, and
we only had half.
Yeah.
I only had half.
So we had to split the room, and we had people coming in at 9:30 and at 10:30 for
So I was doing two classes on Tuesday and 2 classes on Thursdays, back to back. Back in the day, I could do that. I don't know. I don't think I could do that now.
Well,
and then I would go and teach another class after that at some gym. And half the time I did a class in the morning. Before that.
She was doing all these things. And then she broke her leg, and then she was out for a year with that. So anyway, so our friendship started back then, and then as this new development of the when we got the bond referendum to build the annex, it was like there was nobody else that I wanted to have in charge of that except for Nancy, because she really had the vision of how to make that place full. And she, from the day one, we have not regretted having Nancy as part of
not for
our
more
team.
than a day or two anyway at a time.
At least
we're not going to talk about those.
At least as far as the programming.
Well, we were going to talk about that too, about how I came from owning my own business. I came from running different clubs here and up north. And it was all about money. It was all about the money. And then I got here.
We had to teach Nancy about public sector.
Working for the town is like,
and what that looks like. And also she works circles around people. So, it's just like, she's not I'm like, Nancy, you have to slow it down just a little bit for us. We're from the South.
No, when I first started, I was like, okay, well, I know that I have to do this and I have to do this and I have to do this, because I'd done it before. And then I realized, girl,
take it
you
easy.
can do like one of these a year
and just take it easy.
You will be a superstar.
Exactly.
Like, just chill.
Exactly. But over the years, you have introduced some really awesome things, and I want to hear from you what's your favorite programs that you've started here.
My favorite programs, as far as classes and stuff.
Things that you introduced for the very first time.
Turtle walking. I thought turtle walking was really cool. I think even Stephanie helped come up with that name. Stephanie was here, I think, when we started turtle walking. So turtle walking was on Mondays and Wednesdays for an hour. It's like 12 to 1. And it was for people, because I found when I started, they were walking from 8 to 9, just like they do now. And there were other people coming in with their walkers and with their canes. And these other people were like buzzing around, like lapping them. And I was like, somebody's going to get hurt. Like one of these people, they're going to get knocked over. So we came up with this turtle walking thing. So I would walk with them. Like I set up chairs around the room, and it was awesome. It was awesome. Like I remember.
And then you got Charles Durham, one of our volunteers.
He started helping me, and so did Hardin's wife. Did it for a while.
And Jerusha.
Yep, Jerusha did it for a while too, because it was really hard for me to take that hour and go walk with them. But I mean, I remember walking around with Miss Tabitha, Olivia's mother, and like hearing from Miss Tabitha, like how her father sent her to New York and how she lived in these apartments with like 12 other women, and walking around Miss Hazel. Yeah. Like, and going, Hazel, I don't see Mary here. How did you get here? And she said, I drove myself. And I looked at her, I went, what? And she goes, oh, Nancy, I drive much better than I walk. And I'm like, oh, Lord have mercy.
That's who coined that phrase. I drive much better than I walk.
Yeah. So that was cool. I love that. And the live class I'm doing now is pretty cool. Like that.
So doing something for the people that can't quite do the highest level.
I have always, I think that that's part of the reason that our programs here have done so well, is because of both of us, your input as well, but that we cater to beginners. Like as soon as you are like a superstar Zumba person and you're going to work out every day, you're not going to stay here, because if you're paying for Zumba, it's more expensive. It'd be cheaper to go to the Y than to sign up for 3 classes through the town.
True.
And like pickleball, the same thing. Like when you get to the point where like you're a superstar, like killing it, like you probably shouldn't be at the senior center. You should probably go to the rec center
and get some new folks to play with. Yeah.
So over my life, and I mean my career, I have always felt that I never had to really, even teach in class, I never had to worry about the people in the front row. The front row, they were going to come no matter what I did. I was always worried about the people in the back row leaving feeling accomplished so that they would come back, because that's the only way to build your classes. The other thing is there are a heck of a lot more beginners and out of shape people than there are superstar athletes. When I ran training programs at different gyms in the area and up north, I always trained the beginners, and I always gave the superstar athletes to another trainer.
Mhm.
I really didn't want to deal with stuff that I knew the risk of injury was really high, but these people were willing to do that because of whatever their particular goals were. I was always more at one with teaching beginners, and that has worked out well here because I think
I agree, and I think that's been our
whole
whole mission has been to keep it so that anybody brand new comes into this building, they can try something for the first time and maybe develop a new hobby or develop, so we don't want, we don't want to have advanced classes. We want to have the things that are going to keep you busy, keep you motivated. And so if you wanted to do our thing and something else, go for it.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I agree. I like
so
that.
I think it's, and then I did the Alina Me thing, which I'd done before. I forgot I had done that. I guess I'd done that a couple times.
So Nancy's done a couple of evidence-based programs, and helped develop the program. Well, Jerusha, who was hopefully eventually she'll show back up one day.
That would be lovely.
She was a physical therapist, and she was working on what was the name of that program? Sail.
What was it? Stay active. Something
and independent for life.
Yeah. So I took that name and we came up with life, live independently forever. It's just like sail, but I couldn't use sail because that's copyrighted.
Right. So anyway, there was the turtle walking that has happened. There's been a Leaner Me, which was an evidence-based program, which means that in the beginning she would do pre-assessments and post-assessments to see the progress that people have made with those things.
Right. And I did the walking one. Yeah, I did the balance.
We did the Appalachian Trail.
That was the first.
We did incentives
at the very beginning to get people to come.
Well, and to try different things. One of the things original that I come up with was CORE, which was
that was before I got here.
Yeah, creative opportunities for recreation and education. So we had people. They had a blue book, so they would actually they would have a blue book like you would do essays in and during college, and they would keep track of all the different things that they would do, and they would win random prizes like
No, that was later.
Oh, that was something else. Anyway,
so we did these. I don't know what those prizes were. But anyway, we'll talk about that though.
Yeah,
that was fun.
So they got their associates, bachelor's, master's, PhD based on how many credits they got for attending different things. And if they tried something new, they got extra stuff like that. So anyway, that was a lot of fun.
So when I first started, she said, you have to do this. And I was like, okay. So of course, coming from the north, I thought the Appalachian Trail started in Maine and was the Appalachian Trail, not the Appalachian.
Thank goodness she says it right now.
And I always thought it started in Maine.
And actually
it ended in Georgia.
We all think it starts down here.
So I ended up going and getting a map of the Appalachian Trail, and I had it outside of my office, which is my office again. And they all had to come up with trail names, and I made little flags with their trail names on them, and they would get so many miles for each thing that they tried, like whether it was walking, an aerobic class, whether it was cards. I think we included everything.
We included, well, no, we did not for that. That was all fitness.
Was it all fitness?
That was all fitness.
Okay. And then they won. So at the end, we had an end of the trail party. We had an end of the trail party, and Craig's band played at that party.
That's right.
Like they played out. I have pictures of that.
I have it too.
Outside of the thing. And we had a big cake, and everybody got T-shirts that said,
"I still have mine."
I still have mine
big
too.
Paint blob on it.
Mine might have died when I used to dye. But yep, everybody got. Hey, Tony, I love her. But yeah, I forgot all about the Appalachian Trail. That was a lot of work though, because every day they would give me like their books, and I'd have to add up all their points, and then I'd have to go do that. And then I did the same thing.
We'd stamp thing. We had a couple that we stamped, and
I don't remember that stamp.
Yeah.
And then I did the walking thing through AARP, and we walked from here to like the Washington Monument or something, and I had poster boards hung up all the way down the hallway. Remember that?
Yeah, all the way down.
They got a counter.
Yeah, this is before cell phones actually counted your stuff.
Yeah, they got a counter.
Well, so how far have we come?
As far as they would walk, and I would put down, okay, you've walked as far as the blah, blah, blah bridge. You've walked as far, I forget exactly how far, but yep, that was all I did. Remember, I forgot about that too. Yeah.
Okay, so then there was this moment where Nancy was volunteering with Senior Games, and I was in charge of the.
I wasn't volunteering. I was helping you.
You were.
I was
you were
working.
forced. It was forced volunteering.
No, I like doing it.
But anyway, she had the experience of working backstage and at the Silver Arts Follies event, and she was just like, "Why is there nobody from Garner doing this?" And that is when you developed
the G Squad.
Yeah, but it was all. But first, it was called.
It was called the Garner Glamour Gals.
But then we had a guy.
The next year.
And so Tom.
So we had to change it.
So we had to change it to the G Squad.
Right. That's when we came up with the G Squad.
Yeah. So it couldn't be the Garner Glamour Gals anymore. It had to be the G Squad. But it was tell them about it.
So the first year. So anyway, and the other part of it was when I went, oh my God, not to say that these people weren't talented because they were, but it was all like, Bye Bye Blackbird, and old like music from the 40s, 50s, like, and I was like, let's. So we did. So I was keeping it cool, and I did Paula Abdul. I forget the name of the song. What song do we use? Do you remember? I don't remember. Somebody who knows. Anybody there that was in the G Squad that remembers the song we did with Paula Abdul? Anyway, Paula Abdul was our first song.
Was it Telephone?
Telephone was not Paula Abdul.
No, you did
Telephone was somebody else. My Kind of Music. No, wrong. No,
no, it was not your kind of music, Jerry.
Oh, I thought he meant. My Kind of Music.
Right,
I thought he was giving me the name of the song,
stuff,
but yeah, he loves anything from that center. I was like, no, we're doing something more. So we did Paula Abdul, and I had, I think, 5. There were 5. And the next year, you came to me and you said, I have the song for you for the G Squad. And it was the Black Eyed Peas, Boom Boom Pow. And
that was the gold medal winning year.
Yeah, like we won, but the second year of the G Squad, we won overall for Wake County. And then we won, so we represented Wake County in the state games. And we won state. That was insane.
That was, yeah.
That was crazy. Like, how exciting was that? But that is not the YouTube video that got us to Taiwan. It was the one. Do you remember the year that we were doing
the gloves?
ET? No, we were going to originally do those sacks.
Oh, that got nixed.
And somebody went to the town manager. We won't name who that was.
That
got the town manager.
So she wanted to get everybody and put them in one that like sacks
that you use for like autistic kids,
that you push out and make. Yeah, that was not a good idea. Well, I was worried about it too, but it went.
We would have won. So anyways, we ended up having to do the thing with the puffy fingers on the end. No, the gloves, the first gloves were in Boom Boom Pow.
And they shut the lights off and they put these gloves on, and then they were able to do these like sparkly things. It was really cool.
Especially nothing like that had
ever happened.
I truly think,
it was
that is what brought like that up to the senior games in the entire state. Like it really did. Like people started really bringing it after that.
Yeah.
It was crazy. But no, it was the ones with the pom-poms is the one that they saw in Taiwan. So I actually wrote down what years this stuff was. So the G Squad.
Nancy's been going through all these old pictures.
Yes. I've been going through pictures because somebody asked me to. We won the gold at state in 2010.
Okay.
And we went to Taiwan in 2016.
And tell them about the Taiwan thing. I think this is a really.
So my office at that point was over here in the main building, in the front part of the thing. And I was here late. I don't know why I was here so late, but I was here late, and I got a call, and it sounded like a young woman. She had a very hard to understand. She had an accent, and she was telling me about how she had found us on YouTube, and she wanted the G Squad to perform in Taiwan at the Taipei Arena. And I was like, okay, well, why don't you send me an email? And okay. And then the next day,
I'm going, no way.
No one wanted me to go.
No.
All of them were like, are you out of your mind?
Yeah, are you out of your mind?
What are you thinking about taking? What did I have? 7, 6,
8,
7, 8?
Yeah. Like
70 and 80-year-old women across the world. Are you out of your ever loving mind? And do you remember me breaking down in tears in your office with Rob and crying and going, at that age, you never get invited to do something so spectacular at that stage of your life. I will do anything to let them go there and bring them and make this happen.
She really
I jumped through so many
and she risked her complete career on this.
I did. I was told, if this messes up, you are gone. I remember being in Maine on vacation.
Oh, and you got a call and you were on a boat,
and
right?
saying
From the town manager.
No, it was the town manager, and it was the lawyer, and it
the
was
attorney,
and it was the department head at the time,
Yeah.
Sonia. And here it is. I'm out in a boat. I'm on vacation. It's like I'm going, I wish they would call me because I can't have a beer until after they call me. Like I can't have.
Right, you were gone.
I have to be completely on. And then I was worried that I wasn't going to be able to. The call was going to be because I was in the middle of the mountains and stuff. But yeah, so I mean, I was going through. I found all this paperwork of all of these submissions of all this stuff papers and documents that I had to pull together in order for us to go. But that. I do not regret one bit of it. It was the trip of a lifetime.
So it was a heritage kind of program. It was talking about seniors and their value.
Yes, the value of seniors in
whatever age.
Taiwan.
So it totally fit.
Yeah.
And
I ended up calling that. So then I ended up calling the girl from Australia that had done this. We were only the third group. The first group was from China. And the second group was that performed there was from Australia. So I called her, and we emailed each other a couple of times. We texted, and I spoke with her, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, you have to go do this! Like it's like you."
And once they got there, they had to get there.
But we had to pay to get there.
But once they got there, everything. I mean, the transportation, they didn't have to do anything. No. They even took you around and toured you around.
That was awesome.
And did all the stuff, and you performed in front of how many people?
16,000. We walked in, so I don't know what day we
walked. Hometown Garner represented in Taiwan in front of 16.
Yeah, we walked in. It was like the PNC Arena. I mean, we walked in and just went, oh my God. And then they said to me, so it was this story about a sweater. And thank goodness one of them explained to us what the whole thing was about. But it was about this kid that his mother had made him a sweater and they thought he had stolen it. And I forget the whole thing now. I bet one of the girls would remember. Patricia might remember. But they said to me, so we're going to have them come in stage left. And I was like, no, they can't come in stage left. They come in stage right and they leave stage left. Like do not. They will not, you will rock. They will, oh my God, no. So they had the two stars, the two Taiwanese actors that were,
that were in
the singers and the leaders. Like there were two, and that they, switched where they were going to come in, thank God. So I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, you can't disrupt.
It was awesome. It was awesome. I mean, yeah, that was ridiculous.
And then they sent a trophy. They gave him a trophy. And
that was a different thing. We were planning to go to China. We wanted to take a ferry. You can take a ferry from Taiwan. We were going to take a ferry over to China so that we could see the Great Wall. Like while we were in Taiwan, we were going to go do that. And then I got a call from these girls because I was in constant contact with these girls from Taiwan after that some other town wanted us to perform at some
embassy
festival or something
at the embassy or something.
No, some festival. It was a festival. But and my take was you don't say no. So yes, we had to give up going to China, but that was great because we got to this other place, and whoever the mayor or whatever they are there took us to all their little rice paddy villages and stuff. Super cool. And they fed us cheesecake. Like they tried to give us American stuff, but I'll tell you, I mean, most of the time I looked and I was like, oh, I ate a lot of rice because I knew what that was. Like the rest, I was like, oh, there's like green eggs here. Like,
hi,
look
Penny.
at all these people.
Hey, Penny.
Yep, and Sharon. Yay,
Sharon,
she made it. She found it because she called me earlier. Didn't know if she was going to be able to do it, but that was super. Like that was absolutely like.
So the G Squad has continued, and it's under the direction of Kimberly McGee.
Yep.
And they still have a group that performs, and it's hip hop. It's known as a hip hop dance, and it's all about
exercise.
Act your age, not act your
age is just a number.
Age is just a number, and I think that has been a huge theme that we've carried out here.
Yep. So I started looking through these pictures and I found a picture of me in the deer house. Does anybody remember when the white deer was in the deer house, which is now down by the creek at White Deer Park?
Yeah.
But it was over
in the middle of.
Was it where the memorial was, or was it near where the memorial was?
It was in the middle of a field.
Was it by the rock?
And you remember somebody broke into it and burned it.
That was before me. That was before I started. So anyway, so that started. So I started working here in July of 2006 as an employee, not a subcontractor. So I didn't work 3rd of July that year because I started like July 7th. The next year though, the 2007, we have tens of thousands of people coming to July 3rd in the park. And there's the white deer in this house, whatever. I said, why don't you don't have lights?
Why,
You don't
I know,
have
why are
any
we
night-
decorating
There's
this?
nothing
Yeah.
decorated. And Torrey was like, whatever, Nancy.
Just do it. Whatever.
Like, I'm sick of listening to you about the stupid deer. So after that, I would go over. I have pictures of me. I would decorate it for Christmas. I'd put lights up because it was air conditioned in there too. Like
it was totally climate
It was
controlled.
climate control.
Had an alarm system on it.
And it had electricity. And so I had like, I mean, there's got to be pictures somewhere of this deer with like a Christmas Santa Claus hat on and like a bow.
Oh, I'm sure there is.
I'm sure there's somewhere. But I would decorate, and then I would decorate it for Halloween, and I would decorate it for probably Easter. I mean, I would go out and I would spend a day out there decorating the deer house. I'd forgotten that I did that. Does anybody remember the deer house being
And
there?
then and Nancy thought, I mean, she's always been about Halloween too, and she wanted to see more of like Halloweeny kind of things.
No, they gave me the trail.
She wanted a haunted trail.
No, they
Holy
they
cow.
had a haunted trail. They did.
Oh, that's
it was
right.
on the right-hand side, and they had like a fake arm and maybe like a spider. And I went, oh, that's not going to work.
Oh, Nancy got chainsaws, like
I
strobe
had people like
lights.
hiding.
It took like 2 days to set it
It
up.
didn't. We didn't have 2 days. I had kids that were volunteers that went underneath the bridge
and
in
were,
the
like,
yucca
banging on
spider nest.
Yeah.
And then I had somebody dressed up in all black that I splattered with paint that like went up against like another thing that they could come out. I had fog
you
machines.
pushed up against
Yep,
the thing.
yep, I had that.
It was scary.
Like,
I mean, it's scary.
then,
It's scary.
and I had an Amy Sharon was one of my favorite tour guides. So it was so dark
Yeah.
out, and like so we had a guide take like 4 or 5 people at a time with a flashlight so that nobody got hurt. And then I had people dressed up, hidden. Do you remember the year that somebody was dressed up in that big, huge costume and we never found out who it was?
The one with the chainsaw?
Let's see, I think it was
That
the guy
was
with the
that was
chainsaw.
a scary
And we
guy.
never found out who it was. So here we are with these people in costumes hiding in the woods on a kid's program.
It wasn't a real chainsaw.
No,
It was like
but
he
it
didn't have a
sounded-
blade, but he cranked it up. But
we never found out. who
no,
that
he was like some Boy Scout or
Something.
Eagle
Who
Scout or something.
knows? We never found out who it was. And then we had spooky music playing through it. We had a graveyard.
Oh yeah,
There
it was
a spider
something.
thing. Yeah. And then they said, okay, you can't just do the scary one. Now you got to do a non-scary one. And then I just had to go hang like LED lights and stuff, like glow sticks and stuff on that one. Remember?
And then it rained too many times or something, and the whole event just got changed.
I think it was
around.
too much work and too much fun.
It was a lot. It was a lot of work.
But we had to light. Remember lighting all the bags with the candles, real candles,
Mhm.
fire. Like they were
Oh
fire.
yeah,
That was
That's
fire.
right. They were illuminated. We illuminated
With
it, yeah.
real fire.
Yeah, real
Like
fire.
it was. I can't.
Yeah, because I remember
we didn't
sticking
have
the sand and we
We
would
would go
spend
over the
all
day
day.
before,
We
the
would
day
spend all
before.
day under shelter 2, putting sand and the little candle tea lights in there.
Do you remember all getting together? This is like coming all these memories, like for a whole day and putting the labels on the brochures.
Yes. So before
Like, oh my
before the
God.
post office would actually just mail things out to all the things, we had to go through and like pull everybody's resident addresses, and we had these labels.
It was the whole department. It was so
Holy cow.
fun. We
It
get
was-
pizza.
I don't know if it was fun.
It was fun. Your idea of fun and my idea of fun, I guess, is
Yeah.
totally different. That was fun.
Decorating the deer house wasn't.
I love
But
that.
Anyway, putting the labels on the brochures, that went on for years.
Yep.
And finally, the post office took over, and I think we pay them.
So, I don't
I think we
know.
pay them extra
Probably,
money
who
now
knows?
to mail those
Yeah.
out for us. But that was a big ordeal.
That was a huge thing.
And then we had to pack them up. We had to bring them all in, and then we had to pack them back
remember
up.
they
and
all
then-
got wet in the van because the van
Yes,
was
the
leaking?
van was leaking. Yes, yeah, there were all kinds of things that happened.
We make it look so easy, but there's really so many things that go wrong behind the scenes that you don't even know about.
Well, and not to say, and those things were fun, but we also have had some pretty major tragedies that have happened in the town, and they affected us directly. ConAgra
That was
on
crazy.
June 9th, 2009. Nancy and I were outside doing something, and we heard these helicopters coming up over
And
the
she was
top
like,
of
something's going on.
over the
something's
top of
going
the
on.
building, and we did
That was
not know
bizarre.
what it was. And our boss at the time, Rob, came around the corner and said, "Y'all, we've got to jump into action." And so
Everybody came.
We didn't really know what was happening. He told us that Conagra had an explosion, and there were people that needed to be transported off that property. So they went and got the bus, they got the vans. We had people.
We started triage in the gym. We closed everything down, got all the seniors out of there. We had a triage so that we had lists so that we kept track of
we had to pull. All right. So once we finally got them off of campus over there and they were safe, we got them into the gym. So all the people that were working, we fed them through the gym and in a way, and they were triaged to make sure, and they were accounted for. And then I actually was like, okay, let's enter these into a spreadsheet, because we couldn't tell who was there and who wasn't there. So I mean, just writing them down on a piece of paper. So I got busy and I had the fastest typer in the universe, like typing in names, and then we just alphabetized them, categorized them, and then handed them off.
How many people died in that? 3?
I think after all it was like 5, but
Really?
two died after the fact. But people were severely burned. There were people's cars.
They were getting off, covered in white soot.
It was just really traumatic.
Yeah.
So anyway, our hearts still go out to them and all that they went through.
They lost their jobs.
They lost their jobs. They couldn't get their car. A lot of them didn't have their cars. Their cars were totaled.
Yeah.
They had to come over. So anyway, the senior center became the closest place that day for anybody. So they had all the corporate headquarters. They had the police squad. They had all the first responders. The Red Cross.
I think these cups are from.
Actually, I think they
these
are.
Cups are still left over.
I think these cups are from. Because we
like
had Red
the Red
Cross.
Cross. Yeah.
But they were here. They set up offices here for 2 months in our building, and in the craft room, and we had to block off the bathroom so that the seniors coming in one way and there were a lot of people that were really
seniors
upset.
Were really cool though. They were cool.
They were great, and
it was it went on for a long time though.
Yeah, it did, and it was really taking a toll on Nancy and me. Yeah. I mean, it was like, I remember going under the oak tree and just bawling, crying, and one of the social workers came out and talked to me. I was like, this is hard, y'all. Yeah.
Like we were dealing with much at that time. It was just so much.
And not really knowing our safety either. I mean, if somebody wanted to go, berserk because their family member was hurt.
It was crazy. It was awful. They were all sitting there waiting to find out if their loved, while they were digging.
And there were like 3 days. It was 3 days before some of them found out that there was, we figured, but still, it was just not good.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we had that, and then we had to live through COVID.
That's when we started
Coffee Talk. Yeah.
Yep.
So it's crazy the things
and YouTube,
and I think you guys pretty much know the story about COVID, so we won't go through all that.
Well, I think
a lot of really good things came of COVID, and it also got us better organized. I mean, we went and we purged our whole system. We re-entered everyone into our database.
Yep.
We had COVID vaccines here. Remember that?
Yeah.
That was crazy. That was like on the phone 24/7.
Yeah. We had almost 200 people here.
Yeah, that came that day and then came back, and then they had to be reminded, and anyway. So we have also we've been a hub for some pretty crazy things too. So I think we've done pretty well by the community.
The biggest thing from COVID from here is that I realized, probably 95% of our job is interacting with the seniors.
Yes.
That if you guys weren't in this, if I was in an empty building, I could get done everything in an hour and a half. I have to get done. But I missed them. Remember, we kept saying
we were really.
It was.
And so
bad.
we set up a library on the outside. Yeah. So and a few people, some of our faves, would come up and get books, and
and puzzles.
I don't even know if they were actually reading the books, but they would come and say hey to us.
And then I stood outside most of the time because we did. We delivered Meals on Wheels.
Yes, Meals on Wheels was awesome.
And I went out and did that, and I still went out and gave them newsletters, it was
But we really
everybody,
and I'll say this, we were on calls with other senior centers throughout the state, and I want to say that this one, between the two of us, and I think she really taught me how to say yes to more things and to try things, even though if we had to shut it down. But we tried to bring things back, and would turn around and 2 days later have to shut it down. We'd bring it back.
Shut it down because of COVID. Then we get a call and say, nope, we can't do it.
But it was more important for us to make the effort to try to keep things going.
We were going to do something out in the parking lot. Like we had everything ready to rock. Like I was setting up, I had everything set up to do like a circuit out in the parking lot to keep. And then like the night before we got told,
but
cut it.
We still kept going.
Yep.
And I think we became a model. In my opinion, we became a model across the state with these other senior centers about who's doing what. Because some people just shut down and never came back. You know, may have been doing meals in the parking lot, but we really got in and got you all back in sooner than a lot of people and safely. I mean, there were not many.
Oh my gosh, Marcel and I were the ones that painted. We went and taped the squares.
We taped squares to, so
that you could be 8 feet apart. This was when we first, and then we had to shut that down.
Yeah, I mean, we were taking temperatures at the door. You know, we were doing all that kind of thing. But
that was crazy.
It was a challenge, but it taught us the value of working here.
But that's when I started going back over into that office too.
Yes, and it was good
because that way we would be in different buildings, but we could still talk to each other, and that like we're here.
So I'm gonna take over your office for a little bit.
I heard that.
Yeah.
I heard that. Cool. I love it over there. I mean, the people over there just come do their thing and they leave. Like they might sit down.
So if you bring Nancy breakfast, you're expected to bring me breakfast.
And no cake.
And I know no cake, but I do drink coffee.
Okay, so we talked about that. I want to talk about my favorite day of the year for years and years and years. So before the block party, we used to do Light Up Maine. And I was in charge of escorting Santa and Mrs. Santa, who you were one year. That was awesome. You were the best Mrs. Santa. That's not true. We have a lot of. You were the best. Well, you were just as good as the other ones. I don't want to get anybody else upset at me. But anyway, because Brenda's still probably.
Oh, I know. Sorry,
since she was awesome.
But
I
was the best.
I got to ride in the fire truck with the firemen. It was like, and do the alarm and the bell and the siren. It was so cool.
And it did it for years. And along came your grandchildren. And your grandchildren got
only one. Bryson did it. Was finally old enough to do it, and it was the year before COVID. And Lily was supposed to get to do it with me the year after. And we haven't done it again because after COVID they stopped doing Light Up May and they started doing the block.
But how
parties.
fun that you.
But he was too little. He was I come with Bryson. Do you know where you are? Do you realize
you're in the fire truck?
And like you're with Santa Claus? Like what? And like who is the best grandmother?
Right.
Who is the best?
You got awards for that.
But yeah. But like that was awesome. And then one year, all the fire trucks were gone. They were all out on fire. So we were trying to figure out what we were going to do, and we were talking about.
Did we do a golf cart?
We were going to do a police car, I think. But one of the fire trucks for some reason came back and it was fine. Then wasn't there another time that I locked the keys in the van or something, or somebody like we locked the keys in the van?
I don't know. There was a kitty cat.
Oh my God. So we're out, taking a break and having a cup of coffee or hot chocolate or whatever. This is actually a
funny story.
And I'm going, did you hear that cat?
There's cats. There's cats. It was cold and we were sitting in there warming up in your car. We were like freezing.
And I'm like, where are these cats? And I had a kid, like a YouTube kids video playing on my phone that was cats.
And it was,
oh my God.
We thought that they were in your manifold.
Oh yeah. I was like looking, I opened the hood of the car to see if they were like some cat had hidden in my car because it was cold.
And then finally she picks up her phone and finds.
Oh my God. We talked about that. The other thing I think we did really cool, we talked about turtle walking. Creative Movement was a good program that we had.
Yes.
Originally, we started that, and there was some girl that was doing it because of somebody in her family that was special class. Then you did it.
So this was the exercise class for special needs, and then Jonathan took it over, and he did a great job. And then funding got cut for some that we had like 4 or 5 group homes that come. I mean, we'd have 30 some people and the caregivers, and it gave the caregivers an opportunity to exercise and play too. So that was a lot of fun. But I think that of all those, I think I missed that group the most. It was hard to stay here till late at night on certain days, but it was so worth it. And now the town of Garner has the league over at the rec center. So I hope if you have
or know of anybody
or that it would be great to get involved with that and stay active.
Flash mob. That's on YouTube. So that was Nancy's idea. It was not my idea.
Whose was it?
It was not my idea. It was the North Carolina Parks and Rec, like thing of the month thing,
To do
the
a
thing of
flash
July,
mob?
and it was supposed to be a flash mob. So Rob came to me and said,
Let's do a flash mob.
you
Yeah,
are the
'cause you're
person to be in charge of the flash mob. I didn't even know what a flash mob was. So I had to Google what a flash mob was. And then I
Wow.
realized that, okay, so they have to bring something so that you know they're part of the flash mob. And then Lyndon
Yes, who
helped
was a
me.
dancer. She was
I love her. She helped me choreograph this dance to
Taylor
Miley.
Swift.
It was Miley Cyrus.
Miley Cyrus.
Party in the USA. And then
That was Miley Cyrus.
no,
That
yes,
was Taylor Swift.
no, it was Miley Cyrus. Jeez. Then don't listen to anything she says.
I don't know anything about pop music.
She doesn't. I make her listen to Taylor Swift in the car, and she hates it. So we did that, and then the best video, and it's got to be on our YouTube channel. So I taught the staff the dance, and Rob's standing next to me.
Yes.
I mean, I watched that video, and I'm cracking up in the video.
So we're on the
him.
stage. We're on the
Over at
stage over at GPAC, and we're trying to do an educational or an instructional
Yes.
video. And Nancy's leading it, and we have these umbrellas, and we're doing up and down and stuff. And yeah, Rob doing.
Oh my god, it was so funny.
Hilarious.
But I would go. So that's how we like got out, and it was Rick Mercer videotaped it because that was before we had Adam or and our Alex or anybody, and we put it like on, and I don't know. I guess we put it on all the town sites because I don't even.
Yeah, it was on the
I don't
public
even know if we
access TV show.
Yeah,
and then but who would have thought that it actually worked? And people showed up with their little umbrellas, and they all showed up. I mean, there were hundreds of them.
Again, that was another thing. I got in trouble for that too.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. Anyway. That wasn't even your fault.
No. So I remember though being out at like the grocery store and hearing these little girls go, Mom, that's the girl from the video. And they'd be like, yes, it is. Are you coming? Do you have your umbrella? And so I remember sitting there though that 3rd of July going, please, dear
I know,
Jesus,
somebody
please,
show
dear
up.
Jesus, please have enough people to like do this. And saying, she's got an umbrella. She's got an umbrella.
And then all these people just started coming forward, and it was hotter than blazes that day too.
Yeah. I just posted another video that I found in my cloud of that. Like, you need to go check it out. Like, that was so much fun. Like, and then we have like an overview. There had to be like 250 at least people at that flash mob. So it was 3rd of July. We knew like it was after the band, that the first band, in between the band and the symphony, we were going to have the MC, the music guy, whoever, do the DJ turn on the song, and then we start. And everybody knew the dance. Everybody had an umbrella. It was amazing.
So sometimes things happen at the senior center, and we laugh behind the scenes. There was a funny note from there have been funny notes from the cleaning crew about what they and that sort of things. But Nancy one day had an experience.
Oh God! So I'm sitting in my office, and my office, those of you know, there are water bottles. I now don't do that. Now I have a cup, like a water cup. Back in the day, I had water bottles everywhere, and they were all half full. And one day I took a big swig, and it was vodka. Like somebody had left a bottle of vodka, and I found out later who it was, and it was somebody that came in for 9 a.m. pickleball and told me that she couldn't survive. But I was freaking out, not only because it was vodka, but secondly,
not to mention you probably
I was wondering like, who drank out of this before me? Yeah, that's a good story. That's a good story to tell. What else do I have? Oh, the other big thing I've done is thank you to Katie Lockhart. It was a couple of years ago when you were still the groundhog, right?
And you got to be my escort.
So I was always your escort.
We had great times.
And I did like the bird release, and I got to release the owl. I had no idea it was going to be so big. It was like humongous. So there are videos of that somewhere too around. That was absolutely one of my favorite things. I remember I was telling you the other day, so I came up with this other idea about doing yard games in the spring, and I got Jesse McGrew, who has since passed, miss Jesse every day, to help me because he was like our go-to guy for years. And
he knew all the rules to things.
He knew everything. He was amazing. He was amazing. So we did like 1 week we would do ladder golf. Another week we did croquet. Another week I forget what we did, but all this different kind of stuff. And then I also suckered Jesse into giving golf lessons.
Oh, right.
So Jesse brings us out. We're out in the ball field, and we're shooting little
plastic ones,
plastic balls, little wiffle type plastic golf balls. And I'm taking pictures and posting it on our Facebook page. And Rob comes up to me and says, were you hitting golf balls out in the ball field? And I was like, no. And then I realized I had taken pictures of us being in the ballpark, and you could see, oops. Yep, I got in trouble for that too.
But
Nancy's nature walks
were awesome.
Yep.
Remember you had the king and queen thing one time. Remember that?
That was walking. That was meeting everybody at 8 a.m. And if they
it was like the Royals thing.
I forget what that was, but they
got to be princesses.
I made like gold.
And I painted
crowns from Burger King.
I spray painted crowns.
Yep,
and
we made breakfast for them.
Yep.
Oh God, I forgot about that too. That was fun. And then, do you remember we had that girl that did stroller size? That was good.
Yeah.
I was talking about the Christmas parade too. Okay, so I'm going through the Christmas parades. In 2012, there was a picture of Claire Whitley driving her little three-wheeled scooter motorcycle in the parade. And there's also pictures of Ann Davis and videos of them doing like a line dance. So that was the other thing. So the next year, I get in the Christmas parade. There's nobody from the town.
Yeah, why isn't there anybody from the town?
There's nobody from the town. Like, there's nobody from Avery Street. There's nobody from, there's nobody from the town of Garner represented except for the mayor and, in the parade. So I got all the scenes, and we made that we had a sign, and they went and they stuck Christmas bows all over it.
Yeah.
They said it didn't look festive enough. And then I ended up, I don't know if the first year I did it, but I just ended up getting garland. We made bows out of the garland, and everybody had to wear a Santa hat.
We discovered that was a long route.
It was a long route.
So they had a bus. We had
to have a bus,
a van behind, so that
they needed to take a break. Yeah. But the G Squad always, when they started, they rode in a red truck. It was somebody knew somebody that had a red truck, and Randy, that plays basketball on Wednesday night.
Okay.
He drove his Gator with a boombox in the back, and that's what the girls danced to on the way.
Wow.
That went on for years. It's so weird when I look at those pictures. Like, I haven't seen some of those people forever. I look and I go, oh my God, we were so young then. So young. The G Squad, the van, COVID. I think we talked about everything I had. The yard games, the owl. I think that's all I got. This was a long one.
It is a long one.
It was the last one. So you can do this again. You just don't have to do it with me.
I got to figure. I know. So yeah,
we have different guests.
Yeah, I'll have you come back as a special guest, and you can tell you about your trip to France. So Nancy does have great plans, and I do want you to talk just a minute about that, because I'm real excited. Anytime somebody is able to retire, we want to say, way to go.
Yep, I'm excited. So I've got my tickets to go to Maine. Next month, I'll probably be busy going back and forth to Charlotte babysitting. Then, because I have a new baby and Shana had to go back to school, she gets out in the middle of June. The middle of June to the middle of July, Shana, myself, and the two babies are going to Maine. Hopefully, other people from my friends from Boston, my friends from Cape Cod, my other kids will come and visit. And then I get back on Monday, the 17th, and the 24th. Morgan, my youngest daughter, and I we're going to spend 2.5 months in Europe. So we're going to start in Paris. Then we've got a house rented on the beach on the Mediterranean in the south of France. Oh my God. And then the next week we're going to just hang and do stuff around there. And the next week I'm planning a 3 or 4 day cruise through the Greek Isles. And then we're going to hang, and then we're going to go to Stonehenge, and then we're going to hang, and then we're supposed to go to Spain, and then we're going to hang, and then we're going to do Italy, and then I'm going to come home and get a puppy. I am. Jerry's like, you're not getting a puppy. I'm like, excuse me.
Get rid of one of the cats first.
I know. Well, she's supposed to be coming next weekend to get Aja.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that'd be good.
Well, I will say on behalf of the town of Garner and myself, how much I'm going to miss you.
We see each other. I have spent more time with you than any husband I've ever had.
Yeah. and we've raised our kids. She's helped me raise my kid.
Yeah,
I've helped
raised our kids together.
We've had morning consultations that have defied
I'm sorry, I can't be here. I'm on my way to such and such. Somebody's having a breakdown. I got to go.
Yeah, exactly. And,
Like,
I mean, and loss of mothers and spouses and just all those things. But, without you, I don't know what I would have done.
I love you, Joy. But my feelings are this way. She won't be my boss. We'll be totally
exactly.
We'll be friends because we've never been able to go really on vacation together.
And I've always wanted to go to Maine, and so we're going to do
probably next summer.
Yeah, probably next summer.
But she did promise me a week at her beach house, and I talked to Kelsey about it today. Kelsey's like, score.
Yeah.
So we have plans. You guys, I will miss every single one of you. Please find me on Facebook and Instagram. Morgan and I are kind of thinking about like doing like a blogging, like.
That'll be fun.
Like,
and maybe some chair fitness videos for us.
Maybe. Like, we'll be the new Emily in Paris.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Mwah! Love you all. Have a great rest of the day. And make sure and keep in touch. And, I can't do it. There we go. 1, 2, 3.
Says leave.
Oh, do I want to leave? I don't think.